Well, holy shit. Welcome to my show today. I am here at Barber Motorsports Park with my new friends, Holly and Miranda. We are in my trailer and we are sweating our dicks off. So these are my two new friends from Build, Train, Race. It's a series here, a part of Moto America, ongoing, featuring women riders. And were you guys new riders? What's going on? What's the program?
Yeah, it's a program devised by Royal Enfield, partnered with Moto America, and essentially they select, this year it's 13 riders, and 8 of our 13 this year are new riders, Miranda being one of them.
Yep.
I am one of the returning riders from last year.
Just the year before? How long have you been a part of it?
You can only be a part of the program for a maximum of 2 years. So this is my final year.
This is my first year, so I got another year coming.
Out with the old and with the new.
The whole idea of the program really is to bring amateur female racers to the professional league, offer them an opportunity to show themselves, to learn the mechanics of racing, to train with some of the best in the country, and then to show off their talents in the hopes that they will be picked up by pro teams.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I'm still learning more about BTR. I've had a handful of friends participate along the way, but I wasn't even familiar with the 2-year cap. So that's fantastic. So, like, it doesn't ever work that, like, people just blow up through the ranks. They're like, wow, it's a good one, and then they're out of there. Is it like...
It can work that way. Yeah. Last year, our second place finisher, Sonia Lloyd, she got picked up by a pro team. So she's here racing this weekend in the Twins Cup class.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So there is a clear trajectory for you guys once you go through the program.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of opportunities to make connections within the industry, whether you move on to pro racing like Sonia did, or just get more involved in even just like Royal Enfield that's itself. So it opens up a lot of doors, which is insane. And, you know, I'm super excited just to see like what's out there. But yeah, it's...
A lot of us wouldn't have the opportunity to do this, to make these connections, to rise to this level. I mean, I'm from Canada, so racing in the States is financially prohibitive. Like, it's just not going to happen generally, especially on a series like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it really gives us that opportunity to get out there and gain the skills and the knowledge and the exposure to make it to that next level, if that's our goal.
Well, that's fantastic. So your experience growing up as a female motorcyclist, when did BTR pop on your radar, and was that like a holy shit, that's for me?
You go first. And so this is my 3rd year applying to the program. I have a good friend that was part of the program in its early stages.
Who was that?
Trish Dahl. And
We love you, Trish. Great job.
Yes, we do. Trish was a really big inspiration for me when I first got into track riding. You know, she was doing BTR, and I got my race license in 21, and I was like, I think that would be awesome. I do my own mechanic work for my personal bikes, and so I was like, I build my bikes, I race my bikes, I'm trying to train, you know. And so, you know, for me, when I first heard about it in 21, I said, yeah, I want to be a part of it. And I am, third time's the charm. So I'm very thankful. Yeah,
That was worth the wait, right?
yeah, definitely worth the wait.
Racing up in Canada is pretty small. We're obviously a lot smaller than the States, and our riding season is quite short. So I hadn't heard a lot about the program, but I had some friends who encouraged me to apply last year. And so I kind of threw together an application. It was very last minute, but last year was...
Wait a minute. So I'm not familiar with the application process. It's not enough just to say, I race bikes. No. You got to be creative.
It's pretty involved. Actually,
tell me more.
It's a great application process because they really do gather enough information to get a good feel for who's going to work with the program. Because it's not an easy program. You don't just show up and ride a bike. Like, this is hard work.
Yeah.
So...
You're turning wrenches. You're putting in the time.
Big time.
There's no half-assing. It's only whole-assing.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
it's like, it's setting up. It's tearing down. It's everything. It's not... You know, we don't have a team to do that. We are the team.
Yeah.
So you're like a team of privateers.
Yeah.
Coming together to support with the thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
We're supporting in the sense of we are doing the work financially. Royal Enfield and BGR have.
Shout out to Royal Enfield. Love your stuff. Longest bike been building.
Yep.
Anybody know the year?
I think it's 1906.
1906.
But there are program sponsors that have come on board. Akasado Racing has really hooked us up with our brakes. Alpine Stars and Arrive for our gear. So there's companies like that have really greatly helped out financially for the program.
We have a great relationship with Parts Unlimited
Yeah.
and Maxima. And they help us with all kinds of stuff. Like we can buy parts for our bikes through Parts Unlimited.
Yes.
And gear and whatever we need.
Are you guys like that scene in Mighty Ducks where they go into the shop, Ponce, Bombay's? You guys ever see Mighty Ducks?
I haven't seen Mighty.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
Show is over, folks.
Don't ask me about TV. I really.
All right, well, for the uninformed and for my home listeners who have definitely seen the Mighty Ducks, in the first episode, or the first film, rather, they go into a pro shop, where like you would buy all your gear for hockey, which I would assume a Canadian would know.
I know about hockey.
Minnesota is basically Canada.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so they walk in, and this is a rough and tumble team from, wherever that Coach Bombay has come in to teach and coach. Brings them this, and they just get a carte blanche, whatever they want. So they've been using used gear for who knows how long, and then they get all these fucking great, the best man. So is that your Parts Unlimited relationship?
We
Flipping open the catalog and Hans sharpening skates?
Pretty much.
Definitely feels that way.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Am I showing my age here? I guess I'm old.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's nice, having that connection,
There's a huge amount of support through the program. And really that's the only way it could work because racing is expensive.
Yeah.
To put together a team like this
of
is
13 riders.
is
Yeah.
exorbitantly expensive.
Yeah.
So those partnerships are really important. And that's really how racing works, right? It's partnerships. From the most basic level right up to the top.
We all rise with the tides.
Yeah, it's people that believe in you, and that's really what it comes down to. Is like, yes, you can believe in yourself as much as you want, but other people, need to believe too.
No, that's great. So you're supported, the team is supportive, and then the community as a whole is supportive. You're here with Moto America this weekend, and they're racing super bikes. We have baggers coming through. There's hooligans, and you guys feel at home in this space. In that paddock, everybody's running around. You're like, what's up, Omar?
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool. We get a lot of fans that come by that think this is a pretty neat thing. So there's a ton of engagement and a ton of even education with the public and with our fan base. And that feels really good to be. I'm not a big feminist or anything like that. I don't think gender has anything to do with racing necessarily, but it's obvious that this has been a male-dominated sport forever. So it's pretty cool to be a paddock full of females and to show a different side of things.
Yeah.
When, like you say, not, woman, man, regardless, it's still got to feel really cool. I didn't grow up racing. I didn't grow up, walking through paddocks and stuff. Like maybe a couple monster jams along the way. But like for a young girl to go with dad to a race and then to see other female racers has got to just be, like stars in the eyes.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar story for me. I did not grow up racing. I did not walk through paddocks. And, it's, for me, seeing the dads bring their daughters with them to the races is like, yes, more, please, because like they get to see other women and maybe it's, exposing them to something that they didn't even consider. Definitely. I didn't consider it until I was in my 20s. I was like, nope, I ride on the street. That's what I do. And then
What were you riding on the street?
so my very first bike was a 1980 Suzuki GS 550. Got that, and then I hopped onto a BMW R1150R. I like to do a lot of cross country trips, so I was like, all right, gotta up it a little bit. And then I went to a BMW K1300S, which I just sold, and I will now be fixing my 10660. So a couple bikes. I think I have
Nice variety.
I think well, now that I sold the one, I think I'm down to 7 or 8 bikes in my garage. But
Same here.
it's hard. You need a bike for every occasion. So
You can't have just one.
No, absolutely.
When I use speaking of women, men, purses, right? You got to like match purse to your outfit.
Right.
So it's the same for your bike and or helmet and or it's like you can't just have one. You got to have like a variety.
Absolutely. The most expensive accessory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and then for you, you equally have a gang of bikes back at home. But what were you riding when this came across your?
Yeah, so before BTR, so I've been riding my whole life. I'm a fourth generation motorcyclist. My grandparents on my mom's side had a motorcycle shop in the 60s and 70s. So I come by it pretty honestly, and I grew up riding little bikes, mostly vintage Yamahas, which is the majority of my collection now. So I was actually racing vintage up in Canada for about 6 years before I applied to the BTR program. And what I race up there is pretty unique. A 1966 Mach 1 Ducati, so it's a 250cc single. I also race a 500 Velocet, 1964, but it's a very custom motorcycle with a whole bunch of parts from many British bikes. And then I race sidecar as well, so I'm the passenger on various sidecars. And then whatever else I can kind of hop on. Last year I started riding a 1978 MT 125R Honda, which is a factory race bike from the late 70s, and raced it here at Barber actually last October, which was freaking phenomenal. So it's quite varied.
Yeah.
But it all builds experience. Very different experience base than coming to North America and racing on the Royal Enfield, I have to say. Like, these Royal Enfields that we ride are quite simple bikes compared to the rocket ships of the other classes.
Well, so explain that to me. What are you riding? What is the exact model and specs on that?
Yeah, so it's the Royal Enfield Continental GT650. So it's a parallel twin. Cool things for me, coming from vintage bikes, it's got a disc brake. Wow.
Stopping's fantastic.
It's got fuel injection. That's cool. You know, you can map these things. There's a computer in it. So that's pretty neat. But when you compare it to like these superstar bikes and stuff, like it's bare bones basic.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the program is we're taking a street bike, we're converting it into a race bike to show its characteristics and how great it is, and to inspire, you know, more people to do this.
I would say it really showcased the riders too.
Definitely.
You know, there's no rider aids on that bike. You know, that bike's doing what that rider is making it do, which is great in my opinion. You know, it really kind of evens out the playing field, and it comes down to, you know, experience and training and, you know, just like,
and fine-tuning it.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
We work with our mechanics, and like K-Tech Suspension is one of our sponsors this year too. And their techs are coming through our pits and they're saying, okay, what do we need to adjust to make this ride better for you? Where can we find speed?
Absolutely.
So like we're learning the fine-tuning.
Are they helping you understand the mechanics of it when you're out riding? They're like, feel for this, see how this, so that you can come back and download as such. Like, I don't know that I would say like, you know, my cup holder was a little loose. You know, like
Sure.
what type of download is that education process?
So, I mean, just going back to our training, we were fortunate to be able to go to Crescent and have 2 weekends there and train on the bike.
So there's an actual...
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
The build, then the train, then the race.
And now we're at the race
We're
course.
starting right now. So we've done the training. Yeah, we did the building. Yeah.
But we had the opportunity. You know, we put the K-Tech on during the build, and then we went out a road, and they said, okay, guess what? We're gonna add a bunch of compression to your forks, right around. You might feel this, you might feel this. You know, come back. All right, now we're gonna take away some rebound. Go out. You might feel this, you might feel this. Come back. And that for me, you know, just like, sure, I've heard what those things do to the bike and how it affects it. I never got the chance to actually, in a safe environment, they're not adding, you know, some insane amount that's gonna, you know, throw us off track, you know, not let it, yeah, you know, right. It was a safe environment, and, you know, you got to go out there and be like, oh, that's too much compression.
What a valuable resource that you're able to, like, apples to oranges, see the comparative difference between the two. And
Yeah.
immediately have reference, like, you know what that feels like.
Yep.
I felt like I had a third eye open.
Oh, yeah, I felt like that too. Yeah, the program, it's amazing in all regards. But that's the thing, though. Like, we fine-tuned the baseline at Crescent during our training, and then we come to the track here, and, you know, you come off the track, and you've got 10 words to tell your mechanic about what was going on. So you get settled, and then you got your 10 words. It was doing this, blah, 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 right? And then your mechanic translates that in and asks more questions, and you dial it right down to where you can improve the ride. And where the bike is, you know, needing a little bit of help through this turn or that turn based on geometry of the track.
With that education, I would imagine, too, it allows you to trust your machine so much more because when you feel X, well, that's just this. I can give it a little more here. I can adjust that and get faster here.
Yep.
And you can...
Freaking cheat code.
a little bit.
No, seriously, it is.
Yeah.
You can kind of maybe predict what might happen. So for me, going out in practice one, I went out in a couple exits. The front was feeling loose, which I was like, okay, I don't really recall that happening at training. I was like, all right, did a couple more laps. I'm like, all right, yeah, like the front end is loose coming out of some corners, on acceleration. And I was like, okay, well, I can, for now, I can predict that that's going to happen and I can act accordingly. Come in, and we changed quite a bit on geometry and suspension, and then, went back out and it wasn't there. But, for the rest of practice, instead of me wasting precious seat time, we have 20 minutes out for each session. I was able to predict and kind of understand that, okay, the bike's not broken. It's just, something will get adjusted. So for me, it was helpful too.
Absolutely. So then as you continue, you get 2 years here on the road with the team. And then what is is there an average yet? I don't know. It hasn't been going so long that there probably aren't too many metrics on it, but like, how often are people getting picked up? And then is it just enough that it's enough to be nominated? Is it just that? Is it like, man, what a great time in life, and then you go back to the experience you were living, or?
I think for some of us, it probably will be.
Yeah.
It kind of depends. Like, we all come from very different backgrounds.
Right.
So we have ages ranging from, like, Michaela, who I think has turned 20 now.
Yes.
All the way up to, like, Lucy, I think, she probably doesn't want me to say this, but she's, like, in her early 40s.
Yes.
So we're all...
Early 30s, you say?
Yeah, exactly. But, like, a lot of us have careers. We have lives. So racing isn't the only thing for us. It's not like we're looking for a big ticket necessarily. But I think for a lot of us, too, racing is a process, right?
Right.
Like, we want to advance. We want to continue with this in our lives. So maybe it doesn't mean we get picked up by a team necessarily, but we go home and all of this knowledge we share, and we start our own training program, or we join a club where we can share this, right? The metrics on who gets picked up and who doesn't, it's too early to say, but I know obviously Sonia has. A couple of the riders from the year previous to me got some rides.
Michaela ran a junior cup race after the final race for BTR last year.
Yeah.
So that was cool. She obviously came back for BTR round 2. So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, then I would even say, regardless of your tenure on the track, the example you're setting for fellow female riders, it really just eliminates the limitation that some X, Y, Z, where you're like, she did it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damn cool thing, right? That we can inspire other riders, especially young women, to follow their dreams.
Absolutely.
And not think that it's not possible for any reason.
Right.
We really need to open that door in this sport.
Well, internal to Enfield and then the things you guys see, is there a constant conversation on how to continue evolving, not just to show back up to the racetrack and race again and have another 2 years and another season of riders? Is there like, well, what about X, Y, Z? Is there more to be done? Like, do you guys have kind of like a horizon ahead? Or maybe that's above your pay grade.
Yeah, I don't know if we're involved in those conversations.
Yeah. You know what I can say is that the management that came on starting last year, with Scott Ryberg and Freddie Spencer, Butch Bull, and Freddie's wife Alexandra, they run a really great team from a managerial standpoint. And Scott's motto is, I want to do something wrong for the least amount of time possible. So feedback from us as riders, feedback from others, is always being processed. Like, he's always making things better. And we see differences from, like, one weekend to the next in terms of improvements. So the program is getting stronger and stronger every race, every year. I can see, if Royal Enfield is up for it, I could see this thing going on for a long time. And who knows what the limit is, really. I mean, as an alumni after this year, like, I would love to be able to come back and really challenge the current riders and have a bigger class, right? So I think there are lots of...
Dang, is it ever going to be like, again, to age myself, MTV Road Rules versus Real World, where then, like, you guys can come back as, like, the all-star cast? So what is it? Maybe I'll talk like The Bachelor, you know? We're like...
I don't watch The Bachelor.
Oh
I
my
watched
God.
MTV more than
Keep
The
selling me out, okay, Miranda? Well, just the same, I do think that would be fun that you could have, like, you know, the throwbacks, and then there could be different, you know, iterations of that experience. 2 years, you know, being supported by the team doesn't mean 2 years you're off the team. I feel like you're in some type of...
It's a family.
It's family, yeah.
It's
So
unreal.
once you're in, you're always in.
There's
You guys have secret tattoos?
Not yet.
No,
Oh,
okay.
secret.
Let me know.
Oh, good.
Oh, shit.
you know, there's previous racers here this weekend, and everyone has come by.
Oh my...
Hugs around, you know. Everyone cheers everyone on. Like, there's so much love, and I don't think that will ever go away.
No.
You know, it's one of those things where you're happy for the changes because they're all positive changes. They're all different. You know, it's getting better, you know.
It's evolving,
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's something to be said for camaraderie at a racetrack, and I'm sure you've seen this too. Like, it is so tight. Racers are like family. We are a different breed on top of a different breed. Like, it's really cool. And the friends that I've made in this program will be friends forever.
Oh, that's cool.
It's such an enriching experience for that reason alone, aside from all the racing and all the cool stuff. Yeah, it's sweet.
Well, dang, if I'm not jealous, I'll try to sign up for the next BTR. When are they doing a men's BTR, you know?
Sorry,
I'm talking equality. Say it again.
India, that's
India?
true. Yeah,
I
has
got a passport.
as a Royal Enfield, and India actually just opened up a women's just like our program out in India for women too. It's cool. That's
Well, no, I need to actually specifically like show the BTR, but for boys. It's like not to assume like I'm up racing. It's like, why wouldn't I have an opportunity to come experience? Just because I'm a boy, I don't get like a fair shit.
I don't.
All right, I already got too many opportunities. I'm like,
We probably don't want to have that conversation on the podcast, but
let's just stir the pot.
yeah, really. I think that this is the focus they want to take right now. I think that
It's all in an effort to grow the sport. And, you know, some of the demographics that is missing is female racers. Yeah, there are many women racers, but as Holly mentioned earlier, it is very male dominated. Yeah. So just, I think really, really shining a light on just women in general is the goal.
What if I'm not mistaken? I think for motorcycle culture in general, like women riders coming into it, and then really they're like the number one buyer of new bikes.
So there's been a huge surge in the last 5 to 10 years of women getting into motorcycling. And if I'm maybe stepping out on a limb here, but if we think about this from a marketing standpoint for Royal Enfield, like how much better could it be?
Right.
They are throwing out content that appeals to everyone. Females are empowered. They think it's really freaking cool that we're doing this. All the guys out there are like, oh my gosh, this is totally cool. Like, you can't help but get behind Royal Enfield on a venture like this. It's a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
So I love that aspect of it too. It's just so positive.
Well, and it's allowed me the chance to come talk to you and meet you and watch you race, and so I'm grateful for your time. And I know you had a race coming up here in this. Yeah.
Couple hours.
Hours.
They're about 2.5 hours out.
Well, and then you said there's 13 of y'all.
Yes.
So I don't know if I'll get to meet all of you, but it was a pleasure, and thank you for informing me on so many things, BTR, and then let me learn a little bit about yourselves. This is now your time to shine. This is your camera. That is your camera, and the GoPro does exist. But we'll start with you, and whatever your socials, whatever you give a shit about.
Sure. Miranda Kane on Instagram. It's mkane_186, my race number. I post my racing up there. Otherwise, thanks for the support. Hey, and I'm Holly Berry. My handle on Instagram is Yamaholly. I'm on Facebook with my real name, and you're welcome to follow along. I post my race reports consistently on there, and if you like a good read, they're pretty long, but they're entertaining. And love the support, and it's always fun to follow racing, so we'll see you out there.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, and to all my my friends and followers listening and learning with me. I'm so glad you guys could come out to Moto America this weekend here at Barber Motorsports here in Birmingham, Alabama. And hopefully we'll get a few more of these that we can chat with. And yeah, shout out to Royal Enfield, BTR, Moto America, and the whole shebang. Let's get some freaking air in here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.